Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Hannah, I'm Simple Vintage Dreamer, and in today's video, I'm going to be going through all of my February reading journal entries. I finished 3 books this month and started 2 new ones, which is pretty good for me, so I'm really excited about these entries. If you're journaling along with me, go ahead and grab your reading journal, your books, and a pen, and let's get right into it. In my January reading journal entries video, I mentioned that I started And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I was happily reading the book about halfway through, and I wondered about the publication date so I could get context for this book. I checked the front cover, but I did not see it, and so I decided to check the back cover. Little did I know, the last word of this book is the killer's name. So I read the killer's name and I knew the killer before I even had a chance to dive really deep into the plot, which was really sad. So I am just giving this book a notable mention, even though I won't be doing a reading journal entry because I feel like I didn't truly read the book. Moving on to the first book that I actually did complete during February. I started the Falling Kingdom series at the end of January, and the first book is called Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. This is book number 1 out of the 6 in this Falling Kingdoms book series, so I'm pretty excited to get to the end of it and see how she pulls it all together. In case you're curious on how I print out the book covers in the specific dimensions that will fit my visual library, I mention it in my January reading journal entries video, which I will link right here so you guys can go watch that if you're interested. I organize my reading journal entries by the title of the book, the date I finished it, what rating out of 5 stars I would give it, and the genre. For this book, I put the genre as fantasy, fiction, and magical, and I know that magical is not a genre, but I just thought I should include it so my brain will understand that it's not just fantasy, it also has some magical storyline properties in it as well. In my last reading journal entry video, I had some questions about what pens and markers I use, and so I will link them all in the description box as always, but this is just a 10-pack of cheap fine liners that I got off of Amazon just to keep in my travel case so I don't have to worry about losing really expensive fine liners. They come in a wide range of colors, and I find that they do the job pretty well. I gave this book 3 stars, and this is what my journal entry consisted of. This was the first fantasy-style book that I have picked up since I was a child, but I'm anything but underwhelmed. Magic is always fun to read about, especially in hypothetical lands and places where it would exist. This book is a fast read and pretty easy to follow along with once you get the author's choice of structuring the chapters from different characters' point of views. I gave this book 3 stars because it moved kind of slow. I understand though, with it being book 1 of 6 in a series. The next book in this series is titled Rebel Spring, again by Morgan Rhodes, so I'm super excited to get into this one. While I was reading Rebel Spring by Morgan Rhodes, I decided to pick up a little quick read of a nonfiction book called Minimalism: How to Simplify and Declutter Your Life with Minimalist Habits by Ben Smith. Since I finished a book in between the series that I am currently reading, the Falling Kingdom series, I chose to leave 6 spaces in my visual library as well as in my reading journal entry section, just so I don't have a random book in the middle of all of my journal entries about that series. I gave this book 5 stars because of the wealth of knowledge that it gave me, and my journal entry reads, "Ever since being infatuated with the minimalist lifestyle, I have wanted to learn more in hopes of adopting it, to a degree, one day. This book definitely cleared up some questions I had about being a minimalist. The things that stuck with me most throughout this book was that the lifestyle of being a minimalist is not just about owning and consuming less. It is more about experiences and memories over possessions, which I love and definitely resonate with. I definitely recommend this book if anybody just has a few minutes every day in the morning that they can pick up a book and read about how they can de-stress their life just by owning and consuming less possessions and by instead making the most out of every opportunity and experience. It's a relatively quick read, it's only about 100 pages, so that is also a plus. The next and final book that I completed in February is Book 2 of the Fallen Kingdom series, Rebel Spring by Morgan Rhodes. In my opinion, Book 2 of this series was far better than Book 1, probably because Book 1, being the first book in a series of 6, has to set the groundwork and all of the underlying storylines within each of the characters, so it was purely background knowledge, but Book 2 is where the ball started rolling and started getting into the storyline, and so I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars, and my reading journal entry says, Book 2 out of 6 certainly had quite a few unexpected plot twists, each one only succeeding to gather my interests more. I am pleasantly surprised at where the storyline is going, and am curious as to how it will unfold after 4 more books. Usually, the latter books of a long series tend to feel as though they are grasping at straws for more content ideas, but I have high hopes for this series. Another quite interesting thing about Rhodes' style is she can make you fall in love with characters you once hated, which is both very impressive and unsettling to know for the future. Now that I have finished Book 2 in the series, I am now picking up the 3rd book, which is called Gathering Darkness. I can tell that this series is increasingly getting darker, not only because it says Gathering Darkness, but simply by the cover art it's getting darker as well, which is pretty symbolic, so I'm kind of nervous but kind of excited to see where this goes. Here is a look of all the books that I finished in February together. I like doing this so I can get a visual of each month how much I just read, and so I can set goals for the next month to maybe read more. Along with finishing these books, I am currently reading Book 3 of the Fallen Kingdom series, Gathering Darkness, and for school I am also currently reading The Devil in the White City, which I should finish around early March. I have a good amount of books on my March TBR list, so I am really excited for my next reading journal video. We are nearing the end of my February reading journal entries video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a thumbs up and a comment of some of your favorite books. I love reading through the comments and seeing all of your suggestions, so please keep it up. As always, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and if you have any tips, recommendations, or requests, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and I will do my very best to continue to make some fun videos. Until the next, bye!